Welcome back to Mojo Talk Radio, a place for real talk to help spiral up you, your business, and your life. And today, I'm really jazzed to have today's guest share space with us. I met this gentleman through an acquaintance, and when we got together and we had shared a little bit of time talking, I was just truly amazed by his story, and I knew I had to have him in front of all of you to share the journey that he took, because it's what we always talk about here on Mojo Talk Radio, about spiraling up that energy within you to get you to your next level in life. And he's the epitome of that. So I would like to welcome on today's platform with us a gentleman by the name of Iman Aghay. And he is, I'm going to give you a little bit of his background, and I'm going to have him share the rest of it. He is a serial entrepreneur, best-selling author, and international speaker. He founded Success Road Academy in 2010, which is one of the largest information marketing training centers in the world. And I'm going to scoot down a little bit because I want you to hear this part. He is a TEDx speaker and has spoken on the stage hundreds and hundreds of times in the past few years in front of audience of thousands of people. He has shared the stage with one of my favorites, Gary Vaynerchuk, Dan Martels, Sean Stephenson, Ted McGrath, John Chow, and he's the #1 online marketing blogger in Canada, as well as presenters from the David Suzuki Foundation, Hootsuite, Yelp, and many others. So, Iman, thank you so much for joining us here on Mojo Talk Radio.
Thank you very much, Pamela, for having me here. I'm super excited to be here and just see your audience and talk to them.
Well, today our conversation rests. We're going to talk about, my camera's doing all kinds of really weird thing. It zoomed out all of a sudden, and I'm not really sure why. But we won't worry about that. I can see my yoga mat in the back there. Well, you know what? I try to hide all that stuff so at least my audience knows, hey, she really does have a mat, so I'm not just making that stuff up.
That's good.
Iman, give us a little bit about your journey towards the fact, you told me during our conversation that you were known as the most hated speaker out there for a period of time. And I love that because I love comeback stories when people are coming from a nowhere position and somehow move themselves up to the top. So help us understand how you did that in your life.
Oh, okay. So you started from like really like the hardest hit that there was out there for me. Okay. So so there is a backstory before being the most hated speaker on the stage. So let's get there first.
Okay.
Then let's have me crash and burn and the rest of the story. But so in 2007, 2008, I was back in Iran, and I was doing public speaking. I was a marketing consultant to several companies, and I was one of the ways that I was selling their products and services was speaking on the stage. And in 2008, I thought, I really want to become an international speaker. I don't want to just be here on small stages and, just sell products, but I want to be on bigger stages. I want to be on world-class stages. I want to inspire people. I want to empower people. I want to take their hand, walk them every step of the way. I want to be much more influential than just using the stage to sell stuff. And because of that, my wife and I decided that we moved to Canada because it's a little bit hard to be an international speaker when you only speak Farsi. And back then, I was only speaking Farsi. And so then we decided to move to Canada in 2009. I moved to Canada with my wife. And then, but I couldn't speak English properly. We didn't have any family or friends, network or any connections here. And I just kind of, my money was supposed to follow us, and it didn't. So we just kind of landed here with $12,000 in our pocket, not being able to speak English, not having any family or friends, but with a dream, with a dream of being an international speaker to inspire and empower people. And to make it a little bit better, 2009 was right after 2008 recession. And at the time that I realized that we don't have our money coming in, I decided to find a job. So I wrote this resume. I went out there to start finding a job. But well, obviously, there were a lot of people who were not hiring. And there were a lot of people who were out of job, couldn't find a job, couldn't find kind of any opportunities. So when I went to Walmart to drop off my resume, for example, they said, in the past 2 weeks, we had 500 resumes dropped off. And there are far more qualified than you are. They can speak English. So even for me, finding a survival job was impossible at that point.
Okay.
And we got to the point that we had $2,500 left in our bank account between my wife and I. And we received this $1,000 bill that we had to pay. And the importance of the $2,500 was that $2,500 was the money to pay for buying 2 one-way tickets to go back to Iran, which meant giving up on our dream and just like go. And so I couldn't make that decision on my own. We left a very good life in Iran to come after my dream. And then now, a year later, 11 months later, we are at the position that we don't have anything left except the money to give up. And
I like that, the giving up money.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Right. So the backup plan money is the last piece that you have. And so I couldn't make that decision on my own. I went to my wife and I said, honey, here's the situation. With this $2,500, we can buy the 2 one-way tickets, or I can pay this bill, pay the rent of the month, and buy some food. And by the end of the month, we don't have any money left. And we become homeless, technically. Like we're just going to be homeless. Mm-hmm. And like we're immigrants. We didn't have any family here. We didn't have anyone to move into, to go to my parents' basement. There was nothing, right? Mm-hmm. And she looked back at me and she said something that changed our life. She said, Iman, have you ever given up on any of our dreams? And I said, no. And she said, so why would we do it now?
Good question.
Pay that bill, pay the rent, and we do what it takes to bring our dream to reality.
So basically, you guys had to go on big faith in that moment, right? Planted a seed of big faith.
Exactly, yeah. Right? And, you know, there is sometimes that somebody believes in you more than you believe in yourself.
Yes.
That was that moment for me with my wife. Like, she wasn't just saying, hey, go do that, and she wasn't involved. Like, she was like, go do it, and 30 days later, if we can't make it, I'm going to be homeless with you. But I stay with you because I believe in you. I know that you can make it. And she was working hard. It was not that I was the only person, right? And
let me just say something really important right there, Iman. That right there, that's kind of belief and support is so hard to find, but you just need that one person that believes in you so much that anything is possible. And I think everybody really needs that behind them. We can't do it by ourselves.
Exactly. I totally agree. I always believe that success comes with luck, but like not just luck, but luck is a part of success. And my luck has always been that somebody was there that believed in me. And whether I was growing up, my mom always believed in me. And like when I got married, my wife always believed in me. And we paid the bill. And then the countdown started. 30 days to become homeless, 29 days, 28 days, 27 days. I went all the way down to 17 days away from becoming homeless. And I woke up that day and I realized I'm insane. For the past 11 months, I've been looking for a job every single day, dropping off tens of resumes every day. And I got no interview. I got no job. And then I realized that day that what would it even tell me that in the next 17 days I can find a job? So, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. That's exactly what I'd been doing. Mm. And that day I decided to change what I was doing. And I said, I'm going to start a business. And I did. And 3 days later, I found my first client who paid me $1,800.
I'm sorry. Let's go back again there. How many days after you made the decision you found your first client?
3 days.
3 days.
3 days. And there's a big story there, but I'm not going to go to that story. But, and that client paid me $1,800, and $1,800 was good enough for us to pay our rent, which was $900, $896 to be exact, and then buy the food for the next month, and then that money kind of got us another month, and then the next month another client, and the next month another, and another, and another, and I kind of made it, but I wasn't doing public speaking yet. We just survived to stay here. And I started building this web design and SEO company, and the company was growing, and I started doing kind of small public speaking to sell our services. I was really trying hard to find stages, right? Because that's what I wanted to do. I didn't want to be a web designer. I don't want to be, I just needed money. That's why I started doing that. But then I got myself, like, I was trying to get on the stage, but nobody was giving me any stage. And I was like trying hard, one after another, and there was like nobody giving me any stage. And I said, you know what? If you don't give me a stage, I'll build my stage. So that's what I did. I built a stage. I created something called Vancouver Business Network, which later on turned into Entrepreneurs International Network. And I built this group in Vancouver that now I had the stage. And so I could get on that stage, I could share. And then I was trading people the stage time. I was like, hey, you know what? If you want to come to my stage, then you should put me on your stage. And then to be on my stage, they were like giving me some stage time. But they were all small stage, like 20 people, 30 people stages, so not big. Until one day, I met a person that he really liked my philosophy around marketing and what I was talking about. And he said, why don't you come and speak at my events? I said, well, what's your event? And he's like, I'm doing this event that is about social media, 450 entrepreneurs. And there are going to be 50 plus entrepreneurs that don't know about how to use social media. And you can come there and talk about Facebook and Facebook advertising and how to make Facebook work for the business. And I was like, woo-hoo, right? It's just like the turning point of my life. It was January 2011. The talk was in January 2011. And for the next few months, I was just like working hard on preparing my talk, like every day, presenting it to this group and that group, and like getting feedback from the target market. It's like, what do you guys think about it? How can I make it better? And then make it better and better, right? So every night going to bed, it's like, oh my God, like I'm gonna share the stage with the biggest names in the market, right? And like Hootsuite, like for example, I was on that stage, right? David Suzuki Foundation was on that stage. And I was like, like I made it big finally. So we got to the night of that event and I got food poisoning. So I was not feeling well, obviously. And I spent the entire night in the washroom until like 5 a.m. And my talk was supposed to be at 1 p.m. the next day. So I went to bed by 5 a.m., set an alarm clock, woke up at 11 a.m., went to the event, got to the event by 12:45, gave my file to the organizer. They put it on the big screen. And I hit the stage at 1 p.m., dressed, suit and tie, and like everything energetic, got on the stage and delivered my presentation without a single mistake. And it's like, went through the whole thing, bam, like I killed it. And I was like, people were just sitting there quietly. And I'm like, yeah, awesome. I came down, like if my talk ended, I came down and there was like few entrepreneurs came to me, started talking to me about their marketing. And I'm like, yeah, people loved it. And I went and sat in my chair, loaded Twitter. There was this hashtag of the event that is going on, right? So I searched the hashtag. And there's this first message that I see that the guy says, oh, I wish I had stayed for eating my Mexican food. I preferred not to come here to listen to this guy. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, sure. He wanted to eat his food, right? And the next one, oh, I'm waiting for this asshole to sell me something. I'm like, okay. And then the next one is like, oh, I'm just waiting to see where this guy starts selling me a Buick. My part of my last name is B-I-O-C-K. So he was playing with the word like B-U-I-C-K. And anyway, it's like the next one. And the next one is like, oh man, this is a corporate asshole standing on the stage. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, I've never been a corporate. Like, what? So anyhow,
Mass confusion set in.
Yeah, and then like literally there are 400 people calling me names and booing me virtually, digitally on the stage. And I'm like, one bad review after the next, after the next, after the next. And I'm like shrinking. I'm like shrinking as I'm reading all of these things. Like, what the hell is going on? But that wasn't a big deal. The thing that got a little bit worse was that now all these other people who are not at that event are enjoying this, that somebody is crashing and burning on the stage. So they're like, okay, you know what? Let's take a picture from this guy. Like, I would really want to see who this guy is that's crashing and burning. And then so now they're taking a picture and tagging me, tagging my actual Twitter account on this, right? So it's like, oh my God, like this sucks, like blah, like all of these things about me. And then now there are like 200 other people that are not even at the event. They're like searching me online. They're finding
you went viral. Your stuff went viral then.
Yes. And then, now that's not the problem though. Now we are at this social media event. Now somebody is crashing and burning in 1 hour and 600 people are tweeting about it. So we started trending in Vancouver and then in BC and then in entire Canada. So over 2 million people saw me crashed and burned on some date, on the day that was supposed to be the biggest day of my life.
Well, you got one piece of your dream. You had your name out there in big lights. So congratulations, you did it.
Yeah, 15 minutes of fame, hey? So I was like, I didn't know what happened. So I went to the organizer and I said, well, Jonathan, like, what happened? I'm just like, I don't know. Like, I've tested this talk over and over and over. And he's like, I don't think the kids liked you. Mm-hmm. Like, who are the kids? He's like, oh yeah, maybe I didn't tell you. We couldn't sell the tickets to the target market. We didn't sell the tickets to the 50-year-old business owner. So we ended up giving a student discount. So half of the people in the audience are 19-year-old kids who are studying media at college. Mm. So I was teaching on the stage what a Facebook post is mm-hmm. to 19-year-old media students at college.
So right topic for you, wrong audience.
Right topic, right talk, wrong audience. But that was not the audience I was told, right?
Yeah.
But that didn't matter because at the end of the day, it was my biggest day that I just crashed and burned, right? And so I started doubting everything. I started doubting even if I have the knowledge to go after this dream, even if I like, maybe I can never become a speaker. Like, I have accent. Like, come on, like, who do you know, like, in these big guys that any of them has accent that you have? Any of them are like from where you are, where anyone like has the challenges that you went through. None of them are like that. Mm-hmm. So you're dreaming something that you can't achieve. Just give up. Just run your own web design company. Just do what's wrong with you? Yeah. Even trying.
Yeah, stay in your little place and be content, yes.
And I just couldn't sleep for 2 nights in a row. Like Saturday night, Sunday night, I just couldn't sleep. Like I was in bed, my eyes open, mm-hmm. was thinking about all the hardship that I got my wife to go through and all the things that I lost to get to building something that was not really an achievable dream. Yeah. And Monday morning, I got out of bed and I said, forget it. Like, here is the thing. None of those kids, none of those people knew me. None of those people cared about who I am. None of those people cared about my dream. Mm-hmm. There is one person who cares about my dream, and that's me. And if I give up on my dream today, I'm going to forget about everything. And I'm going to be forgotten in the history. I'm going to be forgotten about everything, right? And nobody cares.
Yeah.
But if I don't give up and I work hard and I become a great speaker and I make it as an international speaker, then most likely half of those people who were tweeting against me and crashed and burned me on the stage, half of those people are not going to remember who I was. And the other half are going to come to me and say, you came a long way.
Yeah.
And I don't even give a shit if they say, you came a long way, because that's my dream. And I should be the person who care about myself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What you're saying there, Iman, is a very, very profound point. And I think a lot of people give up way too easy. They really don't understand what the drive and the passion is involved in this journey to make these things happen. The minute you get off of go and get out of that comfort spot, life is going to start filling in with all kinds of weird stuff that you didn't see coming. Who thought that you're going to get up on a stage all prepared the way that you were and crash and burn in front of a whole country?
Yeah.
You mean, at that point, most people would say, you know what, this really isn't for me. Life hates me. I'm going back to what I know. Most people. I think one out of 1,000 would actually keep going. Okay. And that's why I want people to understand around this whole point of moving into your dream. Stuff's going to happen, and it might happen for over and over and over and over. But if it's your dream, and if you really want this thing, let it happen over and over and over and over, because then you get to tell the story of how you overcame. And I love listening to the story because it proves my point. It helps me in my own journey to keep going when stuff goes bad, as it sometimes does, to keep going because it's my dream. Like you said, it was your dream.
Exactly.
So
right.
thank you. That's powerful stuff.
And that day, I called my Toastmaster of the week and I said, you got to put me on the stage on Wednesday. I got to get back on the stage. So he put me on the stage. I told him the story. I'm like, I need to get back on the stage.
Yeah.
So I got back on the stage and I got standing ovation from my Toastmaster club. And then the next week. And in 2016, now this is 5 years later, after my TED Talk, I came down, and when I finished my talk, I came to the audience and sat, and somebody came to me and told me, you have come a long way. And that was a very big deal for me. That sentence was a very big deal. So I turned back to him. I was like, as soon as he said it, I'm like, holy shit, wait a second. When did you see me first talking? And he said, well, 2013. Now, in 2013, I was already an international speaker. I'd already made it as a speaker. I was already traveling. But then, even from then, I was like, you have no idea how much your words mean to me. Your words meant a lot to me, and I can't.
So, Iman, do you feel that you've made it then, in your estimation, in your own eyes, you've acquired that dream?
You know what? Actually, there is always a next level. But absolutely, like what I wanted to achieve, what I had the dream of, I actually achieved it in 2013.
Okay.
And
so 3 years after you had it and came to the country, you did it.
Well, in 2009, I came to the country, but in 2010, I started like the building my SEO company and everything. And by 2012, I had into the end of 2011, actually, if you want to think about it that way, end of 2011, I was running my own 250, 300 people events. So 10 months after that crashing and burning on the stage, I did my first 250 people event, which, by the way, did not go really well. It went okay. Like the feedback was 40% good. Like it wasn't even like we weren't even in. Most people were okay with it. There were like part of people who were not okay. There were part of people who were okay with it. However, by 2013, every single event I was running were rated exceptional by more than 90% of the audience.
Beautiful.
In the room, right?
Beautiful.
And like right now, when I go to an event or when I have my own events or I speak as a speaker, most likely I'm the highest rated speaker on that stage. And I say this in a humble way. I say just to tell you guys that there is nothing called failure except the time that you give up.
Absolutely. But you also have a major burning fire in your belly. A lot of people are just sort of so about their dream. Not everybody, but most people need to rev that thing up, that fire in the belly kind of approach to their dream.
But you know what? If you want your dream like so, then you achieve your dream so, right?
Yeah.
And if you have that burning fire and you go for it and you don't give up and you fail and you just like, hey, okay, who cared? Like just you go on.
Yeah.
That's the time. You know, I gotta tell you, like I told you I talk a lot, but I gotta tell you this story because this is kind of like my belief in it. Mm. In 2013, I was invited to this talk that was supposed to be called The Power of Vision. And I was a keynote speaker. I went there and on the screen, they had a different name. They had The Success Story of Iman Aghay. Mm-hmm. I was standing there, I was looking at it and I'm like, there is something wrong with this name. I just couldn't place what it is. And just I waited, and just like as the night was going through and people were going through networking and, you know, the pre stuff that might talk, I was thinking about what's wrong with this talk, with this title. I just couldn't place it until I put my foot on the stage. As soon as I put my foot on the stage, I'm like, yeah, that's what's wrong with it. So I asked the organizer to give me a chair. I got the chair, I sat on the chair. I said, guys, there is a big mistake with the title of tonight. There is nothing called The Success Story of Iman Aghay. Yeah. I'm a master failure. I fail every day. And I probably like fail 10 times a day every day. And once in a while, I fail at failing. And others call it a success.
Success, yeah.
But I don't see it as a success. What I see is that I have another 40 things to do to make that thing that other people felt success. Mm-hmm. There are 40 things that I can make it better. So when I go home, I may celebrate it for like 20 minutes, mm-hmm. but then I get back to work. I'm like, okay, so how can we make this better? Because there are 40 things that went wrong and we could do better.
Yeah.
And so what happened to the audience was that we failed at failing and they thought we were successful. And then we do it better next time. We do it better next time. We do it better next time. And then every single time we make it better. Like in 2014, mid-2013 to mid-2014, I was on the stage for 200 times in a year. 200 times.
You're a machine.
Even then, I was looking at it like, how can I make it better? Every single talk, after every single talk, how can we make it better?
Wow. So Iman, can you give us if you had to share one really good nugget of how to build that dream or the power or the vision, what would you tell us? What is the most important ingredient in all of this, do you think?
Know why you want to do it. Not what you want to do, but why you want to do it.
The power of why.
Exactly. You know, like for me, I got to tell you another story for that, but do we have time for another story?
Well, we've got a few minutes. So, okay, see if you can really squinch it down.
Okay, I tell you like a 3-minute story, like 2 minutes.
I will be having you back.
Okay, awesome. Looking forward to it. But okay, here's the thing. When I was growing up, my dad was an entrepreneur. And he was a really good entrepreneur. He was, but he used to work really, really hard. He was working very hard in his life. And although we were living in the same home, sometimes there were times that I hadn't seen my dad for 3 months in a row because he would wake up and leave the home before we wake up. And he would come back home after we went to sleep. And as I grew up, I started questioning things, right? Became a teenager. So when I was 12-year-old, one time I accidentally saw my dad, which is funny to see your dad accidentally when you live in the same home. But I saw him and I'm like, Dad, wait a second. When do you want to stop the madness? Because this is madness. Like what you do is madness. Like when do you want to stop it? And then he looked at me and said, kid, as soon as you turn 18, I'm going to retire. I was the youngest kid at home, right? So he said, as soon as you turn 18, I'm going to retire. And then your mom and I have plans to buy an RV and go and enjoy our life and travel to Asia and East Europe and Africa and just enjoy our life. And I thought about it. I'm like, wow, wait a second. If I'm 18, then you're 53. And he's like, yep, that's the plan. I'll work to 53 and then I want to enjoy life. Retire and then enjoy life. And I said, well, that's actually an awesome plan. That's not madness. Like, just work hard as much as you want and then, retire. And when I turned 15, my dad was diagnosed with a disease called ALS, also known as Lou Gehrig's disease. And for those of you who don't know what ALS is a disease that kills the patient within 3 to 5 years. And when my dad turned 53, he passed away. He never retired. He never enjoyed his life. And he died with massive regrets. And that shaped a passion in me. That every day I wake up and I say, I got to help entrepreneurs to build a business that serves their life purpose. Not build a business that they end up serving their business. Yeah. Every day, when you go out, you should ask yourself what your life purpose is and build your business around your life purpose.
Life purpose, yeah.
And every day when I wake up, I say, if I do this, I can change the life of 2 entrepreneurs or 10 entrepreneurs or 100 entrepreneurs. Or when I get on the stage of TED, and it's like there are 2,800 people sitting in front of me, and that video gets shared by 300,000 people. That's the reason that I go and work 270 hours on a 15-minute talk, because I know it can change people's lives.
Beautiful.
Now, when I wake up one day and I'm tired, I don't care about being tired. Because I know that there is an entrepreneur that is killing himself that day.
And waiting for you to show up, and they don't know they're waiting for you to show up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's my responsibility.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Talk about this all the time. Don't do it for you. Someone's waiting, so show up. Somebody's waiting, so show up. Oh my gosh. We need to have you back multiple times. And I'm coming after you for some other reasons too, because I see synergy, and I'm about synergy. And now that I know that you're around, you're going to be hearing from me. So watch out. So awesome. I want to thank you for sharing yourself this way today, because today was about the foundation of what it really takes to build that burning belly desire and dream with a powerful, powerful why. I remember hearing a TED Talk by Simon Sinek that talked about this, and everybody really has to know their why. A lot of people's why is counterproductive, working too hard, going after the cash, and then at the end of it, they're empty. It's not the way to build. So thank you for putting that down again for us the way you did, and I can't wait to have you back again, because this is what Mojo is about. It's finding that fire and spiraling that stuff up, and you're the guy. So
thanks.
Thank you so much for sharing that story and journey of yours. We can talk forever, and we have. I mean, we were on a call. It's like, oh my gosh, I got to get off the phone.
Well, thanks, Pamela, for having me. It's been amazing to be here with you, and I look forward to being here again and share my stories and any other thing that I can help with.
Well, absolutely. So for the listening audience, this was a really great time here with Iman. And Iman, how can we find you online?
Well, our official website is successroadacademy.com. And that's our official website. That's we call it the corporate website. That's our corporate, way of being out there. Yeah. I can also be reached at my blog at imanaghay.com.
Okay.
And that's my personal website. I do a lot of blogging and stuff like that, with the stuff on there. Yeah. So I'm more than looking forward to getting connected with you guys and be there anywhere I can support.
Thank you. So for the listening audience, thank you again for joining us here on Mojo Talk Radio. And we're going to have more of Iman coming up in the future. But join us again, and I will have all his connections at the bottom of this video when it comes live again. So Thank you, and join us again for another episode of Mojo Talk Radio. Bye-bye, everybody.